What's going on, beautiful people? We are back at the Value Podcast, where valuable people attract people of value. I am Jamel Jackson, your relationship mechanic. I focus on preparing, evaluating, and giving you the tools you need to maintain healthy relationships. If you guys been watching any of my podcasts, listening to any of the podcasts, there are always some tools being deposited. I don't know if you're picking them up when they drop, but you need to pick them up because they're going to help you have some beautiful relationships. Listen. I got the great River Jones on here today, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing amazing, okay?
I ain't seen you in a minute.
Yes.
Still got the...
and you know me.
Yeah.
But there's some things you don't know.
Oh, some things I don't know.
Yes.
What, personally?
Yes.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. You still got the bright smile, the $1 million smile.
Yes. I've written a book, From Painful to Peaceful, because I found my peace, yo.
Hold on, you said the book is called what?
From Painful to Peaceful.
From Painful to Peaceful. Hold on a second. Now, listen, I'm flowing organically here on this session because I knew who I was dealing with.
Come on.
First of all, let the people know who I got over here.
You already know it's River Jones, your mental health coach. I actually help people get from coping with depression, anxiety, PTSD even, into a state of actually healing. I went through counseling and I dealt with coping mechanisms for quite some time, and then I learned on my own that healing is possible. So yeah, that's why I found my line of work. But what I love to do the most is write. So we got books and poetries and music, and that's my therapy for myself. And for you, I'm glad that this is the topic. Relationships is the topic because I'm 28, single, celibate, and pregnant.
Okay, hold on a second. You're not going. I got a feeling we're going somewhere with this. You're single, celibate, and pregnant.
Ain't that something?
How is this happening?
It happened.
First of all, you being single, is that a choice?
It is, and it's not understood either. Mm-hmm. It's not understood. So, what I learned is to value what I value, how to prioritize it, and I can't say it happened too late because I needed to learn the lesson. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you gotta have certain experiences to motivate you, to give you the fuel to prioritize what needs to be prioritized. So if that's what it took for me to put what I wanted to put first in the first place first, then here we are.
But you said you were pregnant.
Yeah, I learned hard lessons.
Now, are you single by choice?
By choice. Listen, 3 days after, we did what we did, it was a different kind of dynamic of the relationship. It was like, actually, we should take it slow. And I was like, if we were going to take it slow, I would have moved different with you, So what I learned was that I really wanted to be celibate from the beginning. And not so much that I wanted to, but obedience. God had me on an involuntary celibacy for so long that I was like, I think I'm celibate. Because I ain't had none, I ain't been with none, I didn't have relationships that I've been on pause with. Like it just felt like I was being put on a timeout is what I thought. I was like, why can't I just have my fun? And it felt like, this is what it is. And I kept saying, I think I'm celibate, and just do it. Don't just don't be in between. And so when the opportunity came, I was like, I don't have to be celibate anymore. It's like, hold on now, pause. Did you not hear God putting you in this place, in this position? I felt like it was a timeout. I felt like I was in trouble. I felt like I just couldn't have any fun. And that wasn't what it was. I was actually being groomed to be in this position for a reason, but I did what I wanted to do, outside of what I was being told to do. And so within a few days, I realized I jumped the gun. Mm-hmm. I didn't make sure we were in alignment beforehand. Right, which is something I knew of logically. Logically, I knew what was needed to have been done, but I didn't have the maturity or the motivation to do so. So then, when I realized, I didn't give myself in all of these ways, and we're not in alignment.
So is this by choice?
So I chose that. I don't even want to. I don't want to continue faking the funk. I've seen people get divorced.
What do you believe it's for, though? Do you believe this you being celibate is? What do you believe it's for?
What I believe it's for is to make the priorities, to value what I value, right? So when it comes to celibacy in itself, I think it allows room for other things to be made important. You know, when you put the relations first, I truly believe it distorts some things. It does, right? Especially if other things aren't in order. Now, this is something I believed before I did what I done did, okay?
Okay.
However, I was just moving out of spontaneity, and that's my natural movement. I'm very spontaneous, and if I'm intuitive, you know, so I'm very like, if I feel it, I'm ready. Like I don't need a lot of confirmation, a lot of facts. However, there's a harmony and a balance that has to come into place for things that are a little bit more fragile, you know, a little bit more important, a little bit more weighted in the consequence of that action. So you might want to be more calculated with certain things. Some things it's not that deep, but some things it really is. And so I've had to learn to, and in that week, and there was no confirmation of the pregnancy, but in that week I said, you know what? I'm celibate. So if you with me, you with me. If you're not, you're not. And he's like, hold up, how you celibate now? We didn't already. I'm like, bruh, nah, because the way you talking, the way I'm talking, it's not matching up. Right? And so it really does come back. Yeah, I'm responsible because now I done created a monster. You know?
But here's my thing with this gentleman. Did he want to be with you long term?
Yeah.
So when you made that decision, did
he changed
cease
his
to
mind?
be with you
He
long
wasn't
term?
sure after we did what we did.
So it wasn't probably.
He changed his
It probably
mind.
wasn't authentic then, and that just exposed it.
And that's why I said I'm going celibate, because I want to put other things first, to see how real it is, to see how we rock in as many ways as possible before this is the outcome.
Right. You know, that kind of sucks.
Yeah,
Because
you
I
learn
think
a hard lesson.
I think if you truly value somebody, that even if they decide to make that decision, you should stick it through. Now, you were doing that because you wanted to wait until you guys were married?
Yeah. I was like, let's find out that like we really desire this long-term situation, you know.
So the pain though. Let's go down this pain lane.
Okay.
Where does pain stem from? Because I don't think it just stemmed from just this guy.
Not
Was this
at
like
all.
something like
Not at
we
all.
talking
You know
childhood?
what? You know why I jumped so quick into it too? I have valued family and relationships and just having my own family so much so that my business I put to the side, right? My passions, like I'll put anything to the wayside for jumping into what has the potential to be a relationship. Like I value finding the one to marry over everything else in life. That's just me, right? Like I'm big on relationships. I'm big on looking at the legacy and all of this. And like when I talk about maturity, there's a sense of building yourself to the level of being prepared to have that type of relationship, right? And I just, in my mind, I'm gonna have that relationship and we gonna build together, you know? So what happened was instead, all the exes brought me to realize, okay, I can only go so far with someone. There are some things that it's really alone travel. And as a child, I seen my parents stick in a marriage where they were unhappy, right? Domestic violence, things like that. And really apologetic. Like my father, he cried to me about putting his hands on my mother. And this isn't my biological father, but the man raised me, right? So he cried to me about these things. And my mother, she cried about staying, cried about going, you know? So I seen the commitment and the loyalty, and their relationship alone made me understand being loyal to a fault, right? At the same time, also gave me this deep desire to see it work because I hadn't seen a marriage work. And so I was like, somebody's got to do it. I can do it. You know, I value relationships enough to do it. And I love the fact that they were able to stick together. I just didn't love the fact that they stuck together when it wasn't healthy.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
did that kind of skew your outlook? So when you got, like, was this like a repetitive thing? Like you got with guys with the feeling
tell
of,
you,
like, if I get with this guy, then I can have forever. If I get with this guy, then it'd be forever.
I'm looking for the power couple, you know. I want to build together. You know, I want to have fun with you. Like, I want all the things because I found myself alone at a certain point in time. Found myself, when I say I coach people out of these things, I dealt with them. I dealt with being isolated to a place of dealing with clinical, depression and PTSD, and not being able to understand my value, my purpose, not really having a desire for life, but interacting with people, it was different. Mm-hmm. That was part of my escape from my mind, was like, yo, like there's something outside of here. Like there's something here to live for, interacting with people. And so being able to do that with someone, being able to have family, I didn't grow up with all of the family, even though our family is so huge. So when I do visit family, it's like, it's kind of like the odd one out, because we still getting to know each other.
Yeah.
So I just really desired to know, to be at home with someone. Mm-hmm. And I lost that because I went through a situation with my parents where they ended up sexually abusing me at 18. Mm-hmm. So I lost contact with all of my family because when I decided that that wasn't for me, I couldn't take it no more. 2 months in, and I'm like, yo, I gotta go. And it wasn't even for me. I didn't leave for me. I left because I was like, my younger sisters, if I'm not saying it, I'm showing them that it's okay to be behind this door with dad. And I can't show by example that it's okay and then try to tell you something different. So I left because I felt like I was giving the wrong message. I couldn't help them while I was there. And when I decided to leave, it was so much like isolation, so much by myself, right? And it made me desire first originally, like I didn't have a purpose anymore because I lived for the family. Yeah. I didn't value anything more than that at the time. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to create my own family. So I've been on a hunt. And this slowed me down. It made me realize, like, yo, what do you really want? Because you don't just want someone forever, right? Like there's a certain type of life, a certain type of atmosphere, a certain type of environment, right? Even if the child wasn't a factor, just coming to the realization that I can have peace by myself and still interact with people and come back home to my peace. I'd rather come back home alone to my peace than force a family. Yeah.
So when you're saying that you were touched by your parents, both or?
Both, yo.
Mom and
my
dad?
godmom, all three.
Mom, dad, godmom.
Yeah, something else.
Wow.
Right, like a movie, yo. Yeah.
So what age was this?
I was 18.
18, was it just the year of 18 or was
Right, it was 18 to 9. So it only happened.
Not the year of 18, but when you were 18, just that, while you were 18
Yeah,
years old?
it happened for like 2 or 3 months. And that's why I was in such shock too, because I knew them as something else.
But hold on a second. At 18, you weren't cognitive to be like, yo, this ain't what
when
you
I
doing?
tell you my manipulation is real, this is the thing. When someone knows you, and I mean raised you knows you,
Yeah.
right? They know what to say to you. They got me drunk. We got high. We smoked. We drank. We smoked. We drank. And the conversation slowly changed and slowly changed and slowly changed. And the whole time, I'm not realizing it's a plot because the bottle of alcohol that was there. Now, thank God for memory, because my memory is not that sharp. But I remember the details. It's only God. It's only God. Because to have remembered just the aspects as far as even the bottle of liquor that was provided, it was my preference of drinking, right? If they were going to buy that large of a bottle, they would have got something of my father's preference, a Gold Slaughter or something. No, you had the Sky Vodka.
Yeah, that knocks
And the
somebody out cold.
large. I mean, that's the stuff I would like, though. I would take that's the only thing I would take a pure shot of. I couldn't do the dark liquor. It burned. Even though that tastes like alcohol, like rubbing alcohol. I could do the Sky Vodka, and I love to mix it with a juice or something. We weren't even mixing with juices because they were telling me about an experience, and he was leading the conversation. I'd already left home, right? So when I went to visit them, they were telling me about abusing my ex-girlfriend. Okay. And I didn't believe it.
Okay.
So they're admitting to me, and they're like, hey, so you want to smoke? And I had been off smoking and all of that, but I'm like, I might want to. If you telling me you owe me an apology, yeah, go ahead and pass whatever you got to numb this over here, because I'm in shock. So it went from a conversation about what they did with her and how it happened and what she wanted and all, everything, to even saying like, yo, we gotta give it to her like we would give it to the cops tomorrow, because they had court coming up the very next day, unbeknownst to me. Mm-hmm. So they're looking at me, I'm intoxicated, and talking as if I'm not in the room. because I'm intoxicated, but I'm coherent, you know? And so when I think about the setup, I'm like, yo, like you set me up for this. We left the home and went to because my father had a music studio, always around music growing up, you know, but the studio finally left the house and went to a separate building. Well, now every time we come to this separate building, because I was out living house to house at the time because of the domestic violence. I didn't want to be at home anymore. I felt like the need to protect my mom. I'm a boxer. I feel like I should be beating somebody up, okay? But to protect my mother when she didn't want it, and to hurt this man who I love, it drove me a little nuts. So I just said, I got to go. You know, in order for me to make a way, I got to be out of this environment. I knew that much. And then coming back to having this conversation with them, I'm just in shock. I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it, right? At the same time, I knew something had to be real, you know? So when that happened and that the whole thing transpired, by the end of the night, you know, they end up touching me. I'm screaming, I'm yelling, and he's like, yo, don't act stupid. Like, we're trying to help you. You know, we don't want you out here getting raped. Like, when I tell you my manipulation, the Bible says, and I tell you they scripted the Bible says you're supposed to obey your parents.
The devil is a liar.
Yo, when I tell you the devil know the Bible front and back too. So you not only have to know the word, but you got to have a relationship with God, right? And so what I found myself in this particular situation now with child is that in my relationship with God, I still made choices outside of what I knew. I've been getting the message of being celibate and doing this abstinent thing. Like, I had the message already. And I had already been denying my flesh for so long, but I felt like, yo, it's been too long. And the world's ended anyway, you know, COVID and things. So yeah. I'm going to have a baby before I leave this earth. You know, that's how I felt. But it's that, like, is this the way you want to do it? Is this how you want to rush into it? Okay, you can have that. But God would never let you get so far off, right? Too far off. So I say all that to say, like, that experience went on for a couple months at 18. And when I decided to leave, I found myself reshaping my values, because I put them on a pedestal. Yeah, I'm very aware that this is wrong, but they're telling me it's right. And I learned all my lessons from them. They're my parents. You know what I mean? If anybody else I could trust in the world, it's them. So there must be something right. And they're telling me about, you know, his main argument was how the world has their way of viewing things, but it's just to control people's minds, right? And in ancient times, we're talking about kingdoms where he said, how do you think people got multiplied, you know, being with their family? Like, when I tell you.
Let me ask you this. While this is taking place,
yeah,
of course, we're behind the scenes now. But when you come out of the studio and you guys are together, what is the portrait like? Is it like, oh, we're this beautiful family, and everybody's looking like, oh, wow. So what, like, guests come over or other relatives come over, and nobody, the ones who don't know, what are they look? They're looking at it like, oh, they look so happy together. Is that what the portrait was like?
Yes, there's this song, I think it's Dollhouse, you know, but you have this perfect portrait. Yeah, it looks amazing.
Wow.
It looks, and mind you, it's not that it was always a toxic situation. We go out skating together, you know, we having movie nights, we having family time. It's not always a toxic situation. We having sit downs with conversations about, okay, here's how you can do the things you love to do and make a living off of it.
You know what, when you talk like that, man, because I know there's thousands of women and men, but we're talking about women that are in that position. And now you have to go out into the world and try to establish a relationship with a man who may be, here's the thing, that man may be looking at you like value, and you're amazing and you're just the world to him, but your mind and your mental is like, what are you up to? Right. And this could be the very thing in terms of relationships, because I say relationships are gifts. We're gifts to one another. This is a wonderful gift that God has packaged for you, this particular man. But since your upbringing and everything that you've been through, that gift looks distorted to you. It looks like it's evil. It looks like this isn't the package. I don't want to open it. And if you do open it, you just take the ribbon off, but don't open the box. And then if you cut the box open with the tape, you don't really open the lid. And then if you open the lid, you don't scramble through everything to get what's inside of it. So it's like you're just getting bits and pieces of this amazing gift to the point that the enemy distorts you and say, you know, you don't even need it. So you push the box away, or you push the man away.
That's why there's things in place to have discernment. That's why the celibacy is a necessary situation, right? That's why, and that's not for everybody, but for me, I know I need certain things. I need to speak to God on my own, and I need to know you pray for me.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? I need to know we have conversations with God together and separately about the relationship. You know, because there needs to be a supernatural experience rather than just the natural, to have that clarity. Seriously.
So with these relatives, have you ever has the forgiveness point been reached?
Whew. I thought it had a couple years ago, and then I found out that it happened with my sisters, and it went past the point of just the interaction, but they didn't birth babies, and so that.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, man.
Hold on a second.
Younger sisters. Yeah.
Your younger sisters. These same altercations happened to them.
Yeah.
And they had babies.
I don't know all the details. I wasn't there, but as far as I understand, yeah, man.
So let's talk about this forgiveness.
That's when I realized, because I was mad at God then, because I said, God, my one thing, I was gonna go to Georgia. I'm from Washington State. Went from as far as the West is and the East is from the West, and got to Georgia. I said, okay, I'll go to Georgia as long as it don't happen to them. Like I'll go figure out this whole living your life, living my best life, as long as you protect them. And so when I found that out, all that forgiveness and that peace I had got shaken up. And what I realized is that it's not for me and my desires, to have control over anyone else's narrative. Like I've got to allow everyone's walk to be their walk, and only thing I can control, right, is as how I move. Mm-hmm. And I really had to make my peace with that. And I came across Lady Ty at the time in her book, Daddy Issues. And it helped with the process of forgiveness. It helped me begin writing From Painful to Peaceful. It helped me find the ability to forgive, knowing that it's not the person, right? It's the spirit, right? Like this, it's the energy behind it. It's the belief system. It's the what happened to you to set you up in this way. Mm-hmm. Right? Like what experiences did you have to make you believe that this is the way you should and shall be? So yeah, forgiveness is real.
But did you do it?
Oh yeah, man.
So you forgave them?
We good. We could be in the same room and we good. Yeah, wow. But I don't agree.
Have you been in the same room with them since?
I haven't. I've mentally put myself there just to see if I could. And I've made my peace with it for real. I used to have nightmares thinking about coming across them. Even the thought of thinking about being in the same room, like it would cause me to go into panic. So we good now.
so we experienced this. That's a lot of pain right there.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about this transition into this peaceful stage.
Right.
Because it seems, just from talking to you and interacting with you, that you're a very peaceful person, and it comes off authentic. It doesn't come off like a mask.
No force.
So you transition into this peaceful point, but the pain point had you block out a lot of relationships. Mm-hmm. Now that you're at this peaceful point, are you becoming more receptive?
I am. And you know what? I'm just learning to move more strategic, because I would just be so open. At a certain point of peace, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to live. Like, I want to live. And I had the desire to live so much that the passion would just burn up, and I'm just out here like it's whatever. And I had to find, okay, hold on. What do you value? All right. What is it that matters to you? And when I started asking and reflecting on these things with myself, I've been able to more deeply over time, even especially more recently, like over time, to say, okay, no, this is what matters. And sometimes it takes experiences to teach me what matters to me. Because like I didn't even think I really cared so much about having a child until I was dating a woman, and we had a conversation about it. I didn't think it was that deep. We watched a show, and one of the characters birthed a child, and I had a whole emotional interaction. And she's like, should we talk? Yeah, we should talk. I'm like, no, we shouldn't. You should watch the show, not watch me, okay? But we talked because I had that reaction, and I realized, like, maybe I haven't done enough self-reflection on what I really want, because I've been so open to, like, I may not get everything I want, so As long as I get something, we good. I'm just glad to be here. I'm on borrowed time, you ask me, you know? So, but I've learned that, like, nah, like, you're supposed to be here.
So because I hear a lot of women say this, I hear men say it as well, but I hear women say it. So I'm talking to a woman. I want to know. They say they get to that point. And they're like, I just want to live. I just want to live. You know, you get to this peaceful stage. It's like, I just want to live. What does? And I ask this question. I'd be like, well, what does that mean? And most of the time when I ask them, they don't have a definition for it.
I mean,
they're like, I just want to get out and have fun and I don't need to be with nobody. I just want to live. And I'm
no.
And I'm like, well, what does that living look like? And then, they're like, well, just go out and just be. But it's no real clear definition.
Yeah, and that's why people get caught up in situations they're not so fond of. Yeah.
If you could paint this picture for me, like what I know you just said, understanding what I value, but when you said I'm at peace now, I got my passion and I want to live, what does that mean? Where's a clear definition of I'm living?
I'm living is just the situation here. Like, I allow myself to have an experience, period. I'm not blocking experiences. However, when I go through an experience, it teaches me how to maneuver in the next one, because now I learn what matters most to me, and then I'll learn more of what matters to me in the next experience. But I'm not going to regret or stop living. Like, I'm proud of myself for taking the opportunity to at least see.
Now, here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Do you believe that women have to go through these certain experiences because I could understand if they don't have tutors or counselors or healthy people around them.
Come on.
But the Value Podcast is here. So tune in. You're getting some tools right now. If you're a woman watching this, reach out to River Jones, reach out to me.
Yeah, but you have to trust too, because you can have all that counsel.
You have to trust.
And
you have to trust. But here's the thing. If they have these things in place, I believe some experiences you don't have to experience.
Right.
I do believe you walk through life and you do experience it, but I believe some of them you can avoid some of the experiences, avoid some of the mistakes. But I think it goes to that point where it's like, I just want to live. I want to feel it myself.
Yeah.
I want to feel
because that's the thing. I've been numb before, and so getting to a point where I can feel and I can interact, it became like a drug. Honestly. And so I had to get out of the addiction, and slowly but surely I started making my way out of it, right? But I wasn't enough out of it a few months ago to really decide, right? To make the hard, concrete decision. I was still kind of, I might.
I remember saying this before. There's a difference between feeling free and being free.
Woo!
So what you were describing just now was like, in that particular situation or time frame of your life, you felt free. Yeah. And there's a difference between feeling free and being free. I paint this picture. A lot of us know Harriet Tubman, you know what I mean? Mm. She was going, she's freeing slaves, and some got to a certain point with her and they were like, you know what? No, I'm cool. I don't want to go that far. Mm. They just wanted to feel free. Mm. She was like, no, we gotta go further, because I've been to a place where we're being free. You're gonna be free. See, when you feel free, then it's like, okay, I'm still entertaining things, and let me just play it. I'm still entertaining things because it makes me feel free. Whether it be whatever type of behavior, I'm not going to go down the list, but whatever type of behavior that is that makes you feel free, whether it's sex, whether it's drugs, whether it's gambling, whatever that thing is, it makes me feel free. But when you wake up in the morning, this is something that I had to walk through this process about a year and a half ago, because God was dealing with me. He said, Jamel, there's a difference between being free and feeling free. He said, when you just do things to feel free, when you wake up in the morning, you still got the cinder blocks on your feet. You just feel free.
Yeah, he said, but when you haven't seen it, if you don't know freedom,
right,
then you're in a facade. You really in this mirage-like experience of freedom. And so you really do, like, we do need relationships. We need people, we need experiences. And so as much as we may not have to have our personal experience, there are some things you'll never get the wisdom of until you walk through the fire, right? Until you really go through what's going to alchemize and shift who you are, right? Like when we're reborn again and we go through rebirth, we've got to die. there's a death process. There are certain things about us that got to shed like snakeskin in order to really truly have because we can have the knowledge, but to get to a place where we're applying it, to get to a place where it's wisdom, sometimes it does, and it depends on the person, right? Because some things you could tell me and I'm like, oh, that's what's gonna mess my credit up? Cool, I don't have to go through it to know that,
Yeah.
But some things is like, yo, I've got to experience this because I have a hard time trusting. I have a hard time trusting myself. I have a hard time trusting people, and I just got to know for me what works for me, because what works for you may not work for me.
Yeah.
Right. And vice versa. So some things I truly believe like it does require experience regardless of who says what, which is why as a parent or in a parental mindset, we've got to let our children live their lives without saying, well, why would you do that? And I told you, because they're learning, they're living and learning. And so we've got to release the need of control even on ourselves and say, okay, what is it that I need in order for me to get right? Mm-hmm. Does it have to be, do I have to fail in order to succeed? Or can I just learn from others' mistakes?
Yeah. I think there's some things people will fail at, but I'm also learning as I mature and I become older that a lot of things I wanna experience true freedom, because I know how it feels just to feel free. To feel free is not enough for me.
Yeah.
Because I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I still feel in bondage to whatever that is, whatever that emotion is, whatever that behavior is. It's like, no, this isn't the best for me. Especially when I'm surrounded, or you're surrounded by a quorum or amazing people that are being free. Yeah. Think about it. I want to paint that picture again with Harriet. Think about it. Imagine being around Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
And we know the slogan that people use, you know what I mean? I would have said millions more free if only they knew they were slaves. They were comfortable feeling free. Yeah. But you're still a slave to whatever that thing is. Yeah. And she's like, I'm trying to take us to true freedom, where you can be free. Mm-hmm. And we even have that in our society now. Here's the thing. This is coming to me right now. A lot of us are still captive because we look at relationships as a negative word. And I can understand why.
Feels like bondage.
There's traumas, there's experiences, there's damage, there's hurt, there's brokenness that we've experienced. So now the word relationship is like an evil word, not knowing it's the very word and the very thing that God sent to set us truly free. Relationships. Come on. Of course, there's a level of discernment and intuition that we need to use when choosing these things. Yeah. But ultimately, trusting God that I need you to surround me with a quorum of peaceful, healthy people that can keep me in a mindset of true freedom. Yeah. Not people that are coming to sabotage, in your case as a child, manipulate my freedom. Because that's what occurred. Your freedom, your true freedom that you were supposed to experience at 18 was being manipulated. Yeah. And I'm sure thousands and millions of women, their freedom is being manipulated as they're listening to this or they're watching this. You know? So I charge you with this, River Jones. All right. I receive. From this point forward, you got to set millions of women free. You don't have a choice. I know that sounds kind of, I don't care how it sounds. I'm going to put it out there. And I got these words for you too. Yeah. I ain't forget about them words.
Whew.
So you ready?
Go. I'm ready.
On my podcast, I'm going to start asking every guest, I'm going to give them a word, and they have to tell me what that word means to them and use it in a sentence. So the first word for you is, it's interesting. I wrote these words last night, but they're kind of connecting to how we're flowing right now.
Look at God. Okay.
The first word is commitment.
Woo, commitment. I'm just going to quote this one because this is the realest definition you asked me. Doing what you said you was going to do long after the feeling you said it in has left. I truly believe in that. I don't even know whose quote that is.
That sounds like Inky Johnson.
But I felt it in my system. I think Inky got that somewhere else because I heard that years before I knew Inky existed. Okay. But that sounds like something Inky would say. So we just go Inky Johnson that. Okay, so shout out to Inky because in all honesty, and for me, like what it truly feels like a sentence. I have a commitment for all things that I believe are working for my highest good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next word, substance.
Substance. Wow. Substance is the value of something's surface that defines its depth. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Last word. Birth.
Okay, birth.
I picked these last night. This didn't come today, so I mean.
Wow. Birth. Creation and replication. Yeah, is how I see that in a sentence. Wow. I birth all things I'm passionate about. Yeah.
Nice. Man. The Value Podcast, man.
Come on.
This was a very valuable conversation.
With the relationship mechanic.
I appreciate you, River Jones.
I appreciate you.
I really do. First time we met, it was like a synergy. Like, boom. Yes. That's a dope lady right there, man.
Likewise.
Real talk, man.
Yes.
So now, listen, for the people that are listening, the people that are watching, for the women specifically, I want you to say something to that woman, young woman, older woman. Just something from the heart, you know, because, I mean, maybe they're in a position and they may be facing what you were facing. Mm-hmm. Or it may not be as drastic, but they're dealing with something. What would you say to that woman right now?
With all the thoughts in your head, you've got to treat them like disobedient children. You have to train them to sit down and to follow your lead. You have to love them, even if the thoughts feel disruptive. Appreciate them. Do know you have a choice. Just because you think it doesn't mean you have to believe in it. Doesn't mean you have to be led by it. Right? And so for all the thoughts that make you feel bad, that don't feel good, for all the things you agree to that you know it doesn't set right with you, you're worth having all that sets right with you. You're worth it, period. There's no question about it, right? No matter what you've done that you wish you've done better. Every single day is an opportunity to become who you truly desire to be, and it's possible by choice, right? And so if that means free, if that means at peace, if that means in control of your own movements, right? If that means being in love, that is an option for you that you must choose by muting all the things that disagree with that. So anything that disagrees with the things that make you feel good, the things that bring you joy, that are healthy for you, right? Dismiss those things. Set them down. Tell them to be quiet. Find your peace. Yeah, find it. Find it and commit to it. Yeah.